Well, welcome back to Steve Robb Reviews. Today we're going to review this. This is my Milwaukee abrasive disc chop saw. Now, it's amazing how when they make something really good, they stop making it. And they've stopped making this now. And I'm doing a review on it because I believe I know the reason why they stopped making it. But for now, we're just going to discuss this and tell you why I believe this is the best style of chop saw to get. Not the dry cut blades. I've looked at them. I've tried them. A friend of mine has a small fabricating shop and he says they are by far the only thing he could use is the dry cut, not the abrasive. But he said it costs him 5 times more in blades than these discs here, these fiber discs. And so why does he like it so much? Well, he had no choice. He had to switch over because there was way too much dust. But for me, as a homeowner and a do-it-yourselfer, I cannot even think about going to a dry cut. First of all, they're way too expensive unless you buy like an offshore wing-wang low-cost unit. And well, he didn't buy them. He bought the exact same brand as this and he loves it, but it's costing him way too much money than it did before with the abrasive discs. This one here is the 6180-20, 15 amps, 5.4 horsepower. That's a lot of torque. And I tell you what, I've tried other ones before, abrasive discs. Nobody can touch this thing for the power it's got. And it'll cut 5 3/8 of an inch. And I'm putting square tubing in here. I'm putting round tubing. I'm putting solid bar. I've cut everything with this and it's taken it. And I've never had a problem. And a friend of mine that has a fabricating shop says there's no way his dry cut could keep up to this. And of course, another great feature of this is the toolless taking the blade off. I'll show you that in a minute. It's just a little wing nut you just open up, snap back, and away you go. So you don't have to have any tools. It's toolless. So why do I think this is the best? Well, I think this is the best for homeowners and do-it-yourselfers and somebody like me that, you know, cuts steel and angle iron and tubing. And I've cut, I think the biggest piece I ever cut was a 3 by 3 inch solid steel. This cut it no problem. Now, I'm going to take a little tour around the unit here. I bought this many years ago, guys, and I'll tell you what, for the money, I'm saying don't buy the dry cut. And you can't just get a dry cut blade and stick it on one of these. Plus, the blades are very expensive. Unless you're going to buy a real cheapie, you're talking $100 to $200 minimum for a half-decent blade. And I'm buying these Porter cable blades up here for $14 a piece. And I get a lot of time out of one blade. The only problem is the dust. So what do? I make sure I'm outside of my shop and I'm cutting outside and you put a mask on. Now if it's really windy, you don't have to worry about the mask and it's blowing away, but there's not that much fiber. And I'm going to demonstrate to you today, and I'm going to cut this pipe for you. And this is for an example. And I got my meters in the back there. I'm going to set that all up for you and I'm going to explain to you why I think they stopped selling this. So I'll give you a little tour around the machine and then we'll make a cut. Well, we'll start off here, and I got this already opened up because I knew I only had one hand. But you can see how this just tightens on like this, and then you just snap it down, and that's it. And I thought that's pretty neat. And this did come in 2 variations. There is one that's still being sold today, but it does not come with this nice cast deck. It doesn't come with a cast fence here. And this just slides in and out as you like. And then when you want to lock it in, you can lock it in and then it'll start winding back and forth. And this is a real heavy duty unit. And I've had it for a long time. There you go, 2009, that's when I've had it. And guys, I'm telling you what, I don't know what else to say about this. And this is all cast. It's not cheap steel or anything like that. It's cast. And you know, it's got the graduations in there for your cut. And you know, this just pulls open. You set your fence to where you want and away you go. And this has been a terrific unit for me. I have no complaints at all about it. And I wish they kept selling them, but you know what? We're going to look at the meters over there, and I'm going to show you why they stopped selling it. Well, this is the setup I'm going to have. So I'm going to have the voltage read on the right hand side. I'm going to have the amperage read with the big meter. I got it going through a splitter. There's my amp clamp. And here we are right here. I'm going to do the cut here. I'm going to open up the door, let the sparks fly, let the smoke out, and we're going to see why they stopped selling this one. Okay, you ready? Let's start cutting. Well, let's take a look at that cut. Now you see that cut there, guys? I tell you what, the dry cut saw does a far better job, but for me, just getting rid of some of that is no problem for me. Another thing I'd like to mention is the dry cut blades. If you really just have to have one of them, then take a look at the blades when you go to buy them, because many of them do say maximum cut 1/8 of an inch. And they're the lower cost blades, of course, but you have to make sure you get the right blade. And same as the abrasive discs. You got to get the right abrasive disc for what you're cutting. But for me, I will never switch over to the other ones unless the price comes down a lot, and especially the price on them blades. But as you can see in the results of the meter, yeah, it was peaking up like, what was that, around 36 amps. You know, and that wasn't the startup current. That was just the running current when you put it under load. And that's the reason why I believe that they stopped selling it, because from the time I first bought this saw, I plugged it into my outlet, which is a 15 amp. It calls for a 15 amp in their instruction manual, and it says you could use up to a 14 gauge 25-foot extension cord. No way I would keep on blowing the breaker, and there's no way that you can get this thing to run off of 15 amp unless you're cutting peanut butter, and that's the only way that you're going to do it. So I had to make my own designated circuit to make sure I could handle the amperage. And it's worked out fine for me. And I believe that's the reason why they stopped selling that, because it was just too powerful. And guys, this thing here, I bet you will last me a lifetime. I've had it since, 2009. It's been just terrific. So for me as a regular homeowner and do-it-yourselfer, I really can't see going to them dry cuts. Yeah, they cut a lot better than this, but you know what? For what I'm doing, I don't know. I mean, how much do you want to spend? How much is it worth it? And how many times you go out there and cut a piece of metal? I mean, for the professionals, maybe, yeah, like the friend of mine who just could not, you know, afford to pay for a huge, big ventilation system because of the dust that it makes. He'd rather go with the dry cut. And for him, it was a good idea. For me, this Milwaukee is a good idea for me. So thanks for joining me here today. Hope you like this little bit of a demonstration. And come back again. If you haven't seen this channel before, well, you're welcome to subscribe. Cheers, guys.